What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk about more so this upcoming week, some things to expect from the economy and also Lucid. I'm also going to tie it all together with some technical analysis and give you my price prediction where I see things going for Lucid at the end of the week. But before we get into any of that, make sure that you hit that thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Greatly appreciate that. Also, if you are new to the channel, I do daily videos on trending stocks, crypto, I do it all. So make sure you do subscribe and also pop over to my Discord, link in the description below. A lot of good people, a lot of good chat, and with that said, let's get right to it. So you can see the live ticker from Friday, it did close out at 1808, 4.29% down, 19 million as far as overall volume, 46.1 the average, and 2.4 million shares being purchased by institutions and hedge funds just Friday alone. And so when it comes down to it though, there's a lot of big events coming more so from the economy, so I'm going to break that down for you. It is all starting out on Wednesday. You can see Wednesday first thing in the morning, non-farm employment change. That definitely is going to be a very big thing, and I personally feel the only thing that's really kept the economy up as much as it has been is the consumers. So that definitely is going to be a very good telltale sign of that. We all now know as well this upcoming Wednesday is also going to be their decision, the Fed decision on the interest rates. And so in that regard, a lot of consensus is that it's going to be a 50-point increase, and I do think that as well. But when it comes down to it, I think a lot more people is interested in their future guidance, things that they are going to be talking about that may affect the remaining 2022 and onward as far as their projections, if they are going to be increasing interest rates as much as they previously said, and also if what their opinion is on inflation. All of that is going to be discussed, especially based on last meeting as well, which was on March the 16th. After the Fed meeting, it did give the market a lot more calmness and enough to have a nice rebound. So hopefully that is the same case on that. In addition to also on Friday, again, keeping in line with the consumers, there is non-farm payrolls, but 431,000 was the previous, 380,000 is what the forecast is. So again, it does anticipate that consumers are spending a little bit more or less as far as right now, based on the forecast at least. So it's going to be very interesting to see that. In addition to, as far as the new round of 13Fs, nothing really expected for this upcoming week, but still a lot of smaller institutions still adding to their position is still going to help Lucid in the long run, because a lot of retail investors really do like looking at what institutions do at the end of the day. And then finally, we all know on May the 5th, on Thursday after market close, Lucid is reporting their first quarter 2022 earnings. So that's definitely going to be a very big deal. So in that regard though, when it comes down to earnings, there's several different factors that people look for, one of which is earnings per share, revenue, and future guidance. Those are basically the big three. And when it came down to earnings per share, the last one was a beat. It's just unfortunately their future guidance wasn't necessarily as good as we were expecting, but still looking right here as far as the revenue as well for Lucid, it was down significantly, and this was based on the Q4. So overall though, a lot of people are very much mixed on this upcoming earnings, which on a side note, make sure you do subscribe because I'm going to be live streaming this as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But also right here, it does look like you can actually post any questions that you have for the Lucid management team, and they will address it. So that's a very good thing. And looking at some of the top questions, how do you intend to compete with both Tesla and Rivian given current supply chain and market constraints? So that is a fairly good question, but I do feel based on previous earnings, Peter already theoretically said that there is no competition for Lucid right now, that they're not in competition with Tesla or Rivian. So I think they are going to take that question and kind of mirror it for the answer for this. That's in my opinion, at least how I see things. But at the end of the day, that still is a good question. On the second top question, this is what I was hoping they're going to ask in the previous earnings about ESS. So that hands down is a very good question. And then finally, it goes on to about the 100,000 vehicles that was just previously ordered, the big news that came out from the Saudi Arabia government. But this question is a little bit more oriented towards the other potential buyers out there in the rest of the world. So that's another good question, especially the last earnings as well. Hopefully a lot of us investors learned our lesson, because those questions were just completely dumb in my opinion. But even scrolling down, you still do see some not the brightest questions. So what is Lucid's 5-year plan? We already technically know that. For the most part, they are very transparent. I'm sure there's one or two things up their sleeve, but they aren't going to disclose that in this upcoming earnings. So this is another pointless question if you ask me. Let me know in the comments below what you think about that, but clearly 840 votes with 227,000 Lucid shares actually voting for this. Clearly, a lot of people do want to know what their 5-year plan is. There might be surprises, who knows, but I could be wrong. I don't like that question, hands down. And also, when it comes down to their conference call, there is going to be several things that they do bring up, one of which is reservations. Reservations, I already did do a video on that. I do project it being roughly about 40,000, give or take, depending on when they include it in their time frame, because in the past they have been a little bit more inconsistent as far as keeping the constant amount of when the date is per se. And in addition to that, it's going to be delivery and production. That is hands down what everyone is going to be watching for. I did do a poll. I'm just going to bring this up right now. How many vehicles do you think Lucid delivered in 2021 Q1? So this is going to be a very big deal. Like I've already said, that's an understatement. This, in reality, most likely will dictate exactly where Lucid goes, in addition to obviously mentioning any supply chain issues, because there is the common thing that's starting to grow more and more, especially with Ford shutting down their plant next week because of the constraints on chips. So hopefully Lucid doesn't bring up chips as far as a ongoing concern or anything like that. But that aside, it does look like majority of you, there was roughly about 1,800 people that did do this vote, and it looks like around 32% of you think that it's going to be less than 200 vehicles that was delivered. Keep in mind though, that is delivered, not produced, so it might be a little bit more different depending on what they do actually disclose, but still, a lot of people don't really have high expectations for Lucid right now. But take that how you see that. I do strongly feel this upcoming earnings, there's going to be a lot of positive things being said based on that. But in my opinion, I do think that there's going to be a lot of good things coming from this conference call. And looking right here as well, this is just more of a side note, only New York State. It does compare Lucid and Rivian, so you can see right now there is a lot more actual Lucids getting registered in the state of New York. So this is exciting, and as you can see, that majority of which is within that Q1 of 2022. So again, going back to that, hopefully it is a very good earnings because of that. More people are getting their vehicles, registering it, and so forth. But with that, I'm just going to cap it off with some technical analysis like I mentioned. So looking at this, I do have the 50, 100, 200-day moving averages, Bollinger Bands, RSI, stochastic, and momentum. So we did have a little bit of a glimpse. Despite us being down on Friday, we did have a nice Thursday. So looking here on the stochastic, we are currently at 11, extremely oversold. RSI is currently at 35. We are starting to have a little deviation, so black line above the red, showing a upward trend. Momentum, despite everything, we are still below zero, so we are losing buyers on a daily basis. And looking at the actual chart, we are lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. And so overall though, giving you a good snapshot of where I see things going, I do feel that the Feds is going to dictate everything where we go for the rest of the week. Because when it comes down to it, especially what happened, like I've already mentioned, on March 16th, post their meeting, they did give a lot of good guidance and explained exactly what they intend to do. I think that exact same thing is going to happen this round. So hopefully the market and the broader economy, especially Lucid and other growth stocks, are going to have a massive rebound. And when it comes down to it, all the indicators are also pointing to extremely oversold. So hopefully a lot of everything will correct within the market. But when it comes down to Lucid earnings though, I feel that it's going to be a lot of positives, a lot of negatives. Hopefully they will cancel each other out and we will follow the broader market going up. So at the end, I do strongly feel we will be at around the $20 mark, especially looking at more so the Fibonacci. You can see 1995 is the S2, but depending if there is some surprises that does come from the Lucid earnings, we could easily break over that, hands down, especially a lot of the actual big options are being set for around the $22 mark. So clearly a lot of people are under the impression it can easily get to the $22 mark. So take that how you see that. Keep in mind though, I am not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But with all that, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Greatly appreciate that. Let me know in the comments below what you do think about this week. If you are buying, selling, whatever it might be, let me know. And also don't forget to pop over to my Discord, link in the description below. A lot of good people, a lot of good chat. And with that said, let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.